Welcome to Tech Talk with Jared Yellin. Hello, NASDAQ community. I am so excited to share this very special guest with you. This is a guest that's a co-founder of a tech company with me. And I can't wait for you to hear his story, hear his journey to go from having a very successful business to now being a tech founder and what he learned in the process. One of the things that's really unique about AJ is that he has such subject matter expert on the problem he's solving. It's undeniable. Like, I can't wait for him to stand on stages in front of thousands and thousands of end users, potential end users, because his depth of knowledge is off the charts. And you're gonna see that today, and you're gonna understand why that matters. Because maybe right now you wanna start investing in tech. You're like, how do I pick the right companies? Well, you need to pick the right founder. AJ, my man, thank you for being here.
Well,
I appreciate you. I appreciate our friendship, our partnership.
Absolutely.
I'm just so lit up about what we're doing. Where did this journey start for you though? Like, when did you know that entrepreneurship was just, that was the path for you?
You know, my dad came over here from overseas, started a company very young. And so I grew up in what I would consider a self-owned business. So at the time it's entrepreneurship, right?
Yes.
Like taking that leap and coming over here. So, and many people have the same story, but that was the driver. I never saw my dad go to work for somebody. I saw him build his own business up, you know, so all of those things just got ingrained in the process. So it started really early for me. All the typical stuff, right?
Yeah.
I'm out hustling, mowing lawns, cutting every
love
person
it.
down by $5 so I can get the lawn, you know, cutting them way too damn cheap.
Yeah.
But it started there and continued to snowball and got into training and just a bunch of different little ventures along the way. You know, my dad owned an irrigation company. So early on in my career, college time, I realized, shit, I'm making $7 an hour, and I know what my dad's making every time I get one of these jobs done. So at 17, I said, Dad, can I start my own? He's like, absolutely. Awesome. So I got that nice little jumping point. And then from there, I was actually doing some irrigation work on a guy's house, and I'll be completely candid. As a 20-year-old guy, garage opens, I see a brand new Dodge Viper, I see a brand new SL 500. He's got plasma screens on his wall when they were too stupid to be purchasing. And I just asked him, what the hell are you doing, man? Like, what do I need to do to get here, you know? And he was actually like, hey, I'm in pharmacy. I'm an independent pharmacy owner. He over-glorified it. Let me state that. I'm an independent pharmacy owner, you know, and this is what I do. And at the time, I had decided I'm going to go to dental school.
Got it.
But the thing that I was struggling with, Jared, was that dental school, I wanted to go cosmetic dentistry. I'm a pretty artsy guy. I realized my two hands are going to dictate how I generate revenue. Yeah. And if these two hands don't go to work, I don't generate revenue. Yeah, and that troubled me big time. So when I met this cat and we went out, I realized, okay, I don't know shit about pharmacy. I'm just going to go. So literally the week before, I took the pharmacy entrance exam. Went to pharmacy
I didn't know this part of the
school.
story. It's amazing.
Knew nothing. Show up, you know. So there are people who come in and have been in the industry. For me, learning just the drug names and the generics to the drugs, that's like everybody's like PE class, and I'm over there sweating because I'm learning a new language. I don't have a clue what's going on. So I did it. The crazy thing about the story is this guy actually gets in trouble for doing some fraudulent stuff.
Wow.
But what he promised me, or what made me jump at that period, is he goes, you go. And at this time, you know, he said, I'll promise you a 6-figure salary as soon as you graduate, and I'll teach you everything. After what he got busted for, I was like, thank God he didn't teach me anything. So, but I got out and realized, hey, this career, I got to do something with it. So my early career, Jared, was I went and worked for CVS and DFW for a year. I wanted to understand the corporate world of pharmacy. After that, I did a deal in southeastern Oklahoma. So literally, this is what I was doing. I was working 14 hours a day for CVS. On my 2 days off, I was driving 2 hours to the first pharmacy I wanted to purchase. Let me mind you, I was 150 grand in debt. With pharmacy school. It's not cheap. It's a doctorate program, so they take your time, your money, all of that stuff. And so I would make that trip because I had to convince him to take a bet on me. And so I bought my first pharmacy with my mouth, $150,000 in debt, and convinced the owner to owner finance me. Wow. And then I made the move. Small town America was definitely a sacrifice for a period of time. And after I did one, I decided I'm going to do multiple. So I kept acquiring stores. I've had as many as 13 independent pharmacy locations across the Midwest. I've sold some strategically. And then through my time in that business, I obviously started to get much and much deeper. What's going on the buying side? What's going on the insurance contracting side? What does it take to actually be successful in that particular business model? And so as I've done that, I've exposed as much as I possibly can. I would say I know the industry very, very well. And then in that process, as I'm trying to solve issues as a multi-store owner, competing against players like the CVS's and Walgreens and others of the world, that's when I started to realize how poor the problem is that we're now solving in this industry, which is the digital presence of independent pharmacy.
Yeah. So what was that moment for you? So like you have a very, and still do, a very successful independent pharmacy business.
Absolutely.
Many different locations. You don't need to now do what you're doing, right? Like you're good. You got a great life, wonderful marriage, like kids, like you got it all. But there was a point where you're like, yeah, but there has to be an impact in the industry, and I'm going to take responsibility. What was that moment for you when you went all in? Because you went 7 figures all in. Like, you've invested a lot of money.
I went all in.
What was that moment though that led to that?
So I'll be honest with you, it was a Sunday afternoon. I had a marketer working for me. I won't name any names. And I went to my websites and just thought, these are terrible. Like, these are terrible. Is this my problem or is this an industry problem?
Yeah.
And so, Jared, what I did that Sunday is I said, I got $100 here. I'm just going to go shop independent pharmacies and try to figure out the first one I can spend this $100 with on a Sunday. So let me preface that. Most independent pharmacies are Monday through Saturday. They tend to close on Sunday. So I'm like, most pharmacies are going to be closed today. If they are closed, can they make money?
Yeah.
And I spent 4 hours and I could not spend $100.
Wow.
And that's when I decided at that point, I'm not going to just solve the problem for my locations. We're going to go solve the problem for the industry.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so as you start to learn that industry, you realize the size of the industry, the impact you can make in that industry. And
so what was the first step then? So you're like, okay, I'm going to solve the industry. Did you sit down by yourself in like a room and like block the world out and start documenting what you wanted? Did you start making have conversations with other independent pharmacies to see if they had these challenges? Like, what did you do when the light bulb went on and the light bulb was there needs to be a solution?
Yeah, you bet. So I was already so involved in the industry. I had a really good understanding of who my target subject matter is, right? The independent pharmacy owner, I know them well because I was acquiring stores. So I was going in and selling myself already, understanding the needs of the females and males that own these stores and what it means for them, et cetera. I used to tell people, it's like going and asking for somebody's first daughter's hand in marriage. Like that's how tied. They would probably give me their daughter before they gave me the business. Like that was the reality of it. And so I knew that person really well. So for me, it was more how fast can I get an MVP, get that minimum viable product out there to make sure that what I'm thinking and what I'm assuming is a problem, the market's ready for it.
Yeah.
And so I'll be God honest with you. I got on Facebook and just said, I need a developer with this skill set, and I know just enough to be dangerous. Mm-hmm. So if we can get together, I want to try to put together a viable product. And I had another connection, bring a couple guys from Dallas for me, and we spent a year building out
That's awesome.
Very first
so
version.
Think about this now, right? Like you know the industry, like you're non-technical, so you need to bring on the team to support you. And what did that first year produce? Like, did you get what you were looking for? Were you able to validate that you were solving the right problem? Because that's one of the things that many tech founders experience is they solve the wrong problem.
Yep.
That's called a product market misfit.
Right.
So obviously you don't want to have a product market misfit. So what did you go through to ensure that what you launched was the right product or it wasn't, and what did you learn from it?
Yeah, absolutely. So we went after the e-commerce piece first for these independent pharmacies. We tackled it. We got everything done. The thing that worked out really nicely for us, and unfortunately it happened, but the COVID pandemic started to occur at that time.
Yeah.
So it took owners who were probably going to continue to kick this can down the road, and it sped everybody up, right? So it pushed us right into a perfect fit early on. We've learned a lot about the dynamic, but we know their mentality is saying, okay, we know we have to be online now. I know what it feels like to lock my door and not have a customer walk through it. And I don't have any tools at my disposal, and this happened to me, right? Yeah. So it got them thinking about things much more quickly than I think this group of people would have actually thought about them originally.
Yeah, very
so I would say we figured the fit out. We were lucky to figure the fit out. But we had to continue to refine the product. It wasn't over. It wasn't, this is it, there's nothing else to do. It was, this is one piece of the overall puzzle.
So was there any point in the journey where you're like, what did I get myself into?
Every single day.
Yeah. So speak into that, because that's one of the things that I feel like it almost gets lost. Like whether it's an investor looking in or an advisor looking in, or even someone that's considering stepping into tech, it's hard.
Absolutely.
Like it's really a difficult journey, and especially if you're non-technical, like you can't you could sell, right?
Yep.
Like you know what you're doing inside of the actual business itself, but you can't write the code. So what did you do to overcome those moments, to keep on keeping on? Because you obviously have, and now we've partnered, and I can't wait to bring this product to the world. But like, what did you do in those moments to overcome that doubt that just shows up?
Yeah, so, internally there's no give up. It's a win or die situation for me in everything I do. So that's first and foremost. But you're not motivated every day. I mean, there's got to be just routine and consistency to what you're doing. The big thing for me as I really started to step into it, what I learned from a development standpoint is, in all of my other businesses, I can take on a chunk of a role to always be that donut, right? If we get a flat tire, we can at least go 55 miles an hour, always. In technology and development, I have no coding experience. So when we get a flat, it's a flat until I can go find and source the tire and put it back on the car. And that was my biggest struggle, because motivating developers, understanding, are these guys giving me everything they can be giving me, or are they BSing me on how much is getting done? You start to lead with a stick, which is not effective, and why are we behind? Why aren't we getting stuff done? So on and so forth. So that was some of my biggest challenges. And as we finished the first version, it was, okay, as we expand, how do I bring more technical people to the team who can come back and tell me, hey, these developers are on point, they're meeting their marks, you're getting what you expect to get out, quality product, quality code, all of those things that matter in having a really nice product regardless of route. So that was huge for me. I knew it, because there was no way you can keep up the pace. We built quite a bit before we got here, and it's an insane pace to keep up managing people you can't go in and put your hands on the product with.
So how do you iterate though? Because you have been iterative. Like you test well. I want to commend you of that.
Thank you.
Even like the pricing model, you're like, let's try this new model. Like, so you're unromantic about anything other than the outcome, right? It's like whatever's going to get us to the outcome is all that matters. And that's really important for if you right now, like if you're going to invest in someone that is like has a vision, like they need to be able to pivot and iterate. And they need to do it based on data, like not just based on their gut. Like they need to bring something to the market, see how the market responds, and then if it responds poorly, learn from it, and then keep on keeping on. That's what you need to look for. And if you're gonna step into tech as a founder, like understanding how to iterate is so critical. How did you do it? Like how did you iterate?
So I'll brutally honest. I mean, we started with the pricing methodology. I had a couple guys that were doing some sweat equity stuff for me. We literally walked into stores and got our ass handed to us.
That's great though.
And stores, we got laughed out of the store. We got stores that thought we were smoking crack. I mean, it's just, we had to go out there and understand, hey, can we sell this for $1,000 a month, or can we sell it for $99? Is our value proposition high enough? Is it too low? Is the feature set rich enough? The other thing I do is I put it in the market before it's ready. And that's really tough, because you get your butt kicked there too. And so we will send it out and just say, let's get raw feedback, and let's be very honest about where the product is. That way we're not developing by assumption, we're developing based on what the consumer's asking us for.
That's awesome.
But it's you have to know it's just a butt kicking. You know this better than anybody. You just get it out there and you get torn up, but you get really great feedback on what to produce.
So how'd you fundraise? Because obviously you put your own resources in.
Absolutely.
So I commend you for like skin in the game, like burning the boats, like this is happening.
Of course.
But you have now succeeded with fundraising, and you've brought on some really great investors, strategic investors, people that just see the vision and they want to bring other relationships to the table from an investment perspective and even from a growth perspective. How'd you go about fundraising?
So it was interesting, because one of our investors I've known from a different business group, and he had a massive exit in one of his companies, and he would always tell me, AJ, don't ask for more than you need. Take less, or do it yourself. Don't give things up, don't give things up, don't give things up. You'll regret it in the end. And we finally got to a point where I realized, okay, I don't just want money. Money's not the problem. I can go out there. For some it is, but for us it wasn't. We can go out there and produce it with other businesses. I need strategic money. So I took a little different approach. How can I go out and raise strategic money? What I mean by that is I want to be able to pick up the phone and call anyone on my cap table knowing that they have the connection piece for me to get the job done.
Totally.
So every person who's put money into our raise this last round has subject matter expert. They're a subject matter expert somewhere in our process.
That's awesome.
And the resources are phenomenal. So same thing with the partnership we have, right? What does Jared bring to the table? What does their crew have for us? What are they going to do? And we spent a lot of time really ironing that out to understand, not only for myself, but because we got a really savvy group of investors at the table too. And they're going to put that pressure on us
100%.
to say, you guys do what you promised you're going to do. So got out there and look, at the end of the day, the one thing I will say is the idea has to be great. But people are betting on the horse, and you got to make sure they know you're going to run that race until your legs stop moving.
Yeah. So speak to the audience now, because you do have a really successful business, right? And like you said yourself, like you could just keep on running that business and fund this, but you wanted strategic money. Well, often I believe that early entrepreneurs, like they feel desperate for money. So they're just willing to take any money, and not all money is good money.
Right.
What should they do if they don't have a business that could fund their vision, like you have, but without getting desperate? Because desperate is going to lead to a bad outcome.
Exactly
so what's
right.
some advice you can give to an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so if I were speaking to the audience, I would say try what you can with as little money as possible. I would create some type of minimum viable product, even if it's a survey, even if you're door knocking and saying, hey, I'm thinking about this. Would you buy this? What would you pay for this? Or something else simple we do all the time is go knock and say, I've got a Starbucks gift card. If you will give me 5 minutes of your time, I'll give you $15, right? We can make that happen. And then you get to go right after the person you think you're going to sell and find out if they're going to take the things that you're going to give them. So take that napkin idea and just go one step further to say, okay, there actually is a need. You know, I've done the research, I've done my homework on the back end, I know the product really well. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to know you found the hole. And so I hear it all the time, and I thought it in the beginning, like, go out, go raise $100 million, get rolling. That's what every successful tech company does. And then you realize real quickly that is not the case. There's a lot of behind the scenes running that you need to do. So hopefully
listen,
that answered.
That's awesome. You're a visionary. What's the vision from here? We're 5 years out. What happens with Drugstore2Door?
Yeah, so no question what happens is we're missing a full digital presence in independent pharmacy. Our objective over the next 5 years, 3 years in the short term, we want to create the largest collective network of pharmacies in the United States. What I mean by that is leveraging the network via technology so that a consumer across the United States can tap into that independent pharmacy network no matter if you're in Oklahoma, you're in Florida, it doesn't matter where you are. When you hop on and use our technology, not only are you going to have your medical needs taken care of, specifically prescription needs, but if you think about your relationship to a pharmacy today and how nimble that is, the time, what you're spending, especially if you're using a chain pharmacy, we are going to take all of that away. We're going to take all of that away. So if you imagine, Jared, which we already have the tools to do today, we could be sitting in this conference room. I could pull my phone out. I could order my prescription refills, a couple of other items that I would typically pick up at a pharmacy. The closest local independent pharmacy in our network would pick that order up. And just like ordering a Domino's pizza, I would be receiving tracking messages. So as soon as we wrapped a 20-minute interview, that delivery driver would be in the parking lot with my product.
See, like efficiency is everything.
Everything.
Like, everything.
The hurdle has to get lower.
And I love the fact of the vision, the precision, the thought that has gone into it. What do you think CVS is going to think about this 5 years from now?
You know, I could care less about the CVSs and Walgreens of the world. We'll be looking to talk with the Amazons and the other players, the Mark Cubans of the world, the guys that are looking to disrupt what's a pretty, I would say, messed up industry at this point. And we need more variables, vertical integration, consolidation. This is the reason we're all struggling with healthcare costs. And so we need players like us to come in and say, let's keep some room here and let's make sure there are more than one or two dominant forces in this marketplace.
I want to congratulate you, man. It's what you've done independent of us to get to this point, to like validate it, know the market the way that you know it, the plan to bring it to market, the precision around who you're inviting to be a strategic, not the money part, like the strategic aspect of it, you're doing everything right. Like everything right. I know there's probably points where you're like, am I doing anything right? Because like when you're in it feels that way. But like from someone that has done this now, like, you're doing everything right. And I hope that you found this valuable. What AJ shared with regards to where to start validating your idea, it's everything. I mean, like, it's everything for you to go out and even just do a survey where you're gonna give someone the Starbucks card for 5 or 10 minutes to really understand, are you solving the right problem for that end user? Maybe it's throwing up a landing page, like a really basic landing page, and trying to like pre-sell the vision. Is anybody willing to pay for it? Because if not, it doesn't mean that you're not gonna pursue it. It might just mean that you're gonna iterate on it, because that's what the process of entrepreneurship looks like. So I thank you for joining us for this Tech Talk episode. I hope that you found value in it. Now go out and execute. I will see you on the next episode. Bye for now.